All right, guys, you're about to watch the R&R of our 1987 Buick Grand National engine removal and refresh. As you can see, this was taken back when it was snowing. In February, it was started. Really didn't get the car back on the road until June. A lot came up that you will see in subsequent videos, but this will be kicking it off. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of the film because I'm an idiot and I misplaced the micro SD card we had a lot of stuff stored on. So we're going to try and piece everything together and make it flow. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. It is uncovered. It is a filthy mess. We trailered this thing up. It runs and drives great, but we trailered it up in a snowstorm last Sunday. I have a video of it trying to get up the snow-covered driveway. Unfortunately, my father threw my jacket on the camera, so we only have a little bit of the video, but it took like 10 minutes to get in. It was not easy, but it's here. We'll explain why it's here in a second, but Buick made the Grand National from 1982 to 1987. There were 0 produced in 1983. And what most people know is the 84 to 87, all black, everything's blacked out, turbo, etc. The 82 Grand Nationals were essentially just a appearance package. They were initially supposed to be turboed. They were not. They have like a charcoal gray and a black top. Not very collectible. Well, they are collectible, not very desirable, I should say. They only made, geez, I don't even know how many, a couple hundred, I think. But this is the last year. The 86 and the 87 Grand National are the ones that are most well known. Really, the only difference is the grille is slightly different. But from a drivetrain standpoint, everything is the same. These were intercooled. They have sequential fuel injection, which I will show you here. So the intercooler is right there. Fuel injection, obviously, all up top. These were the high performance variants. In 1987, this was like basically the fastest thing you can get off the production line. Corvette and Buick had an internal rivalry at General Motors where 86 Corvette's doing testing. They put out their performance numbers first. They listed it at 230. I don't remember the torque off the top of my head. Buick had, they knew that the cars made about 245 horsepower, but for 86, they did 235. Corvette comes back in 87, bumps it up to 240. Buick bumped it up to 245, which, I mean, really, it's probably closer to the 255, 260 range, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it was a lot of horsepower. It was a sub 14-second car. They ran like 13.9 in factory trim. Sub 0 to 60, I think it was 4.9 seconds, which basically competed with anything European, German. You know, it didn't matter. Ferrari, I think, was a 5.0 with their 512 Testarossa. I don't really know, but this car is certainly unique. It's had a rough life. It is low mileage, like I said, from 1987 to 2002. It only gained 37,113 miles. It's up to 46,859 now. So I put all these on from, in 02, it was totaled. And we'll show you that. It's so cold in here. It was hit so hard in the right front right here. I'm not exactly sure what happened. With the donut wheel on it, that's how we got it. It would only turn like 1/4 of an inch each way. The car was just smacked. You could see it was hit so hard, the frame buckled. Hit here, we had to pull the body back down on the frame with the frame machine. Buckled into the rear here. Popped a lot of this out. And then, I don't know if when it hit, it swung into something because this was really dented in. This car probably should use a quarter panel. It's got a slight buckle here, you could see. But we bought another 87 Grand National. That was a roller. It was a drag car. Took the frame from that, took the right front fender, bought a header panel for it, bought a bumper for it. Everything that is mechanical is essentially NOS, like it has a new radiator, it has an NOS condenser. These AC lines are new old stock. Really tried to do it right, and I think I got this in August of 2014. By April of the following year, it was back on the road. I've taken this car all over Harrisburg, Philly, both are 2-hour drives. It drives straight. It has a lot of power. It's a fantastic car. It's all stock otherwise, and it's all, you know, nothing is aftermarket on it except these headlight bezels are. They don't fit great. Have a, oh, I don't know where they are, but I have a set of originals that we're going to put on it after we get the engine back in. The only thing engine-wise that isn't stock is this turbo. It's a bigger turbo, and I have some paperwork on it. I think it actually makes the car less powerful because it lags. Also, the easiest way to tell if a Grand National was real from the factory, the RPO sticker here should be a WE2. There's other variants. They had Turbo Regals and stuff. You can get a WE4, which was a Turbo Regal, but it had the blackout trim, so it can come in any color. But those are known as like factory lightweight cars because they got aluminum bumper brackets and stuff. You know, we just got a lot going on here. Have the original window sticker, which I think this car, $19,101 new. This was really, really well optioned. Was sold new in Buffalo, New York. It was, like I said, it's got pretty much every option you can ask for. Again, WE2 package right here, Buick Grand National. It's got tinted windows, power windows. It's got the state-of-the-art 1987 sound system that just sounds horrible. It's really got a lot going on here. 6-way power adjustable seat, all this different stuff. So, what else we got? I don't know what this is. This is when I transferred the car, the tax to my name. It's got a dealer installed security system, which I don't actually know if that works. Here's the precision turbo card with the factory number. I think we figured out this was probably put on right around the time of the accident, so the early 2000s. I don't think there's a date on it, but there might be some more paperwork in here. Here, I believe, is a build sheet of some type. Yeah, this probably would have came somewhere on like the door card. And all this stuff matches from a VIN number standpoint, 966. Let's see it right here, 966. Basically, when this car was hit in 02, it was parked in a warehouse and just not touched until I bought it. I don't really know what owner I am. I think I'm probably somewhere around the 5th owner. I bought it from a guy who took it on a trade. He had a 1970 Buick GS that he took this car on a trade, just let it sit, was gonna fix it, never did. So I know it spent time in New York, it spent time in Ohio. I did have the Carfax for it at one point, and I think the original owner sold it in 1990 with almost 20,000 miles on it. So I don't know if he was a sales guy or just traveling a lot, but really from 1990 to 2014, it only picked up, what, another 27,000 and change. No, 17,000. I could do math. So some warranty information never filled out. Buick 1987 new car, except front wheel drive. So these cars were partly killed because GM went basically everything front wheel drive for 1988. The Monte Carlo was the last year of the G body. That did make it rear wheel drive through 88, but everything else brand wise went to front wheel. So kind of the last hurrah. Here is the window, the last inspection registration I have from 2002. So it's probably crashed in the April timeframe. I don't think there's mileage on this. Nope, and then here is the owner's manual. So pretty unique car. Certainly not perfect. It's a great driver. One day we'll probably repaint it. It's about 70-ish% original paint. It's everything really except the hood and the right front fender. So really low mileage still. That's going to continue to climb. I'm going to drive it. We enjoy this car. We use it like a regular car. I've used it as a daily driver when in a pinch. Going to clean the seats. So we're going to show you guys everything. What makes the 87 Grand National special. Once we get the motor out, we'll show you some different ways to decode it and figure out exactly what you have. Probably should explain the reason why we're pulling the engine. It has a nasty, nasty oil leak. It's always had an oil leak really since we put it back in, but it's gotten progressively worse over the last year. So the rear main seal on these 3.8s It's a real common problem. They go often. My dad back in the day had to do a lot of them. He would just keep the engine in and use that sneaky Pete tool, but we're going to pull it out. We might throw a set of head gaskets to it in an intake. Might find the factory turbo. I do have the exhaust housing, I believe. It might even be in the back, but it's, you know, hopefully going to have it done by the springtime. It is the first week of February. This is a T-top car. It's got the original bags in here. You know, it's just got a lot of stuff. So we're going to get to it, and hopefully going to get most of everything underneath done today. Going to get up on stands and go from there. All right, we're jacked up. We got the main guys right there. Got the jack down. I like to leave the jack under just as a little safety. There's really no pressure on it right now, but it's right under the cross member. And then we got additional safeties at the stabilizer bushing. So we're gonna pop everything out. I really regret kind of putting it up first. Probably should have started the tear down of the top stuff, but here we are. So we're gonna get the intercooler out, which is air to air, drain the coolant, hopefully not make a mess. We'll see. Up top, not a lot has to be removed from what I remember to get this out. It should come out whole. We're not taking the trans out. I'm going to try and leave the hood on. We could always bump her up a little bit, but I think we may have to take off the exhaust housing of the turbo. I don't really remember. I don't remember what we did. This was, you know, only 6 years ago, but here we are. So let's see what happens. Okay, one other thing I forgot to mention. These are critical tips for any project you start, no matter how big or how small. If it's going to be something that's going to be sitting a few weeks, for me, hopefully, you know, being the first week of February, this is done by spring. So I would say ideally by the end of March, which I'm pretty confident will happen. But make sure you take these crucial steps to save you time now, because guaranteed you're not going to remember how everything goes together, especially if you're not doing it in a weekend. First and foremost, take pictures of everything, how it's all set up. Get some close-ins like this, like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. That is key, because again, even for like, you know, something like this, the linkage is routed pretty straightforward, right? It comes down, comes in, give it a little gas. But you got 3 cables here, so best be assured, I think this is the cruise control, you want it to go back how it was. Fuel rails and stuff, I'm not really touching that, but when we disassemble the engine, if we take this intake off, we are gonna move all of this. So take pictures of everything underneath, how the wiring goes, where different connectors go, and then you want to bag and label every bolt you take off, even if it's like, hey, you know, if I take the battery out, I'm labeling these 2 bolts. And this isn't the correct setup anyway, but whatever. Next, for parts, put them all in the same spot. I'm gonna use that bucket. I also have the top of that shelf cleared off. There's only door panels up there. So have everything in one spot, because if you know, throw an alternator or a starter over here, well, there's already a couple starters and stuff. So it can get really confusing quickly. Those are my tips. All right, enough talking. Let's get to work. Okay, first step. Intercooler is out. Had to separate, which is still down there somewhere right there, the shroud that's cracked. You can see it. Ironically enough, this was hit so hard in the front that it pushed everything back into the firewall. We actually had to take the body off to get the engine out the first time. And you can see it as evidence. This is the backside of the intercooler. It was hit so hard that it shoved it right into this little intercooler crank fan thing. So a pretty bad hit when it happened, but we're going to keep on plugging away. I'm going to drain the coolant, make a mess, and you will see that from the overhead camera, and we'll go from there. All right, underneath the car now, and you can really see every issue going on. So there's the main puddle. There's the inspection coverage dripping right out. I mean, it's just soaked down here. Look at the cross member. How messy that is. Look at the exhaust. So it's, I mean, it's everywhere. I'm gonna have to sneak the starter out. I think I'm gonna pop the exhaust first. Will probably be easiest. So this is the crossover that goes between the 2 headers, runs up, charges the turb ski. Well, discharges from the turb ski, I should say. And this is the pipe going directly to the header, to the exhaust on the turbo side. So probably gonna pop that off first. I think that'll be easiest, and then we'll go from there. We'll be back. Well, that's a wrap for day one. Everything went pretty well. I probably have like 2.5 hours into it. Everything came off easy for the most part. The exhaust was nice and freed up. Didn't have to worry about breaking any bolts. The bell housing bolts, except for the second one going up on the driver's side, everything else was pretty convenient to get to. The flex plate bolts to the torque converter were easy. I mean, it really went well. This car's super clean underneath. No rust anywhere. So we have the compressor to do next, the power steering lines, the oil cooler lines, anything wiring, and probably some vacuum lines, the heater hoses, I guess I should say. And we'll probably, when we go to pull it up, we'll get stuck somewhere and have to pull X, Y, and Z out. Still have to support the transmission underneath. We'll get that taken care of the next time I get under it. But, you don't want that just hanging there. I'll get a jack under it with a piece of board like that. Probably one that would be a little bit bigger. But otherwise, I mean, it's not too difficult to get done. So what I did realize is we're not going to be able to pull it out where the car is currently positioned. So I'm going to have to put the wheels back on, roll it back, jack it back up in the front, just a little bit, not as much as it is now. Support the trans, and then hopefully we'll be able to pull it out. Yo, happy Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. Chiefs Bucks tonight. Me and my Papa Lou put some money on the Chiefs to win. If that happens, maybe we'll get some new parts for this car. If it doesn't happen, we'll still maybe get some new parts. Not a lot left to do today. Going to get underneath it again, take the motor mount bolts out. I got lazy and didn't feel like doing them yesterday. Kind of regret that because I don't really want to get on the ground. I'm a little hungover. A little too much pregame fun last night. Got the oil cooler lines. Got to get the AC compressor out. We'll probably take the alternator out just because it seems like it's going to be the easiest way to do it. Then we just have to disconnect some odds and ends, I believe. I think we have to get the wiring harness out. Engine harness disconnects down there. Not exactly sure how we did it last time. Like the linkages and stuff we got to take out. And overall, I mean, should only be a little bit. I think we'll have enough room to clearance it. I hope anyway, we'll see. And then I do have to get the car back down, get the wheels back on, which are in really, really nice shape. These are the original wheels. They're obviously really dirty, but get them back on quick, slide the car back, get the hoist dug out. Might have to open up the door. Got another, I don't know, like 1 to 3 inches of snow. It's just kind of coming down, so whatever. But we'll get moving, get these taken out, and go from there. Day 3 of the engine removal. 1 weekend later, it is Sunday, February 14th, Valentine's Day. I'm working on this. This year's Valentine, my daddy, he's coming up. We're going to pull this here engine out. And then I'll get ready to clean this thing and be done. But before we pull the engine out, it should be ready to come right out. I don't see why it wouldn't be. There's one motor mount bolt just hanging in there, so I have to pull that. But hopefully I got everything vacuum and harness related off. Probably didn't. We'll see. They say engine pullers test tensile strength. What's going on here? Siri just tried to intervene here. Anyway, got some work to do before getting it out. Oh, there's a valley pan cover guy, whatever they're called. Inspection shield. Need to get all this back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the wheels back on, get everything out from underneath, push it back as far as I could. Then we'll get it back up to where it is. We'll get another jack underneath the transmission to support that. We'll get the engine hoist jug out, which is over here. I've actually never used it. This is not a toolbox, it's a cooler. I've never used it. We bought it. It came from my dad's friend who passed away, so hopefully it works. I guess we'll find out. We'll have to slide that baby over here. But while my dad's on his way, oh, we gotta take the hood off too, actually. We're just gonna do it easily, so I gotta find cardboard to put on top of the car. So, got some work to do.
All right, pull it.
Yeah.
Let's see how good you are, Lou. The motor's gonna pass. What was that you broke?
Some type of vacuum.
I heard it fly around top of the hood.
Okay, up to the mount on that side. So I think the harness is holding it. If we see it splitting. I got a nice big bar.
I think that's still staying connected. You got all the bolts? There's 6 of them?
There's 6.
Ooh. Oh! What'd you do?
I don't know what happened. It didn't break, all right?
No. I lose a finger there.
I must have gotten jammed in between like that. Don't we want it like this?
Just give you whiplash.
Yeah.
A little bit. But
So guys, at this point, this is really where losing the video hurts. I had this entire camera shot overhead that showed everything coming out, all our trials and tribulations in an effort to get this out. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see that. I do apologize. I will do better next time. First time editing videos clearly isn't going well, so thanks for sticking with us. All right, it's out. What a day. Don't know how much you will be able to see because that camera up there died at some point. No idea when. Wasn't easy. Basically, the engine hoist we had couldn't get high enough, so it wouldn't even have hit the wheels, but it arced out, and we couldn't get the car low enough, so got air out of this tire, got air out of this tire, and then it's a whole balancing act with the transmission, keeping that afloat so it's not hanging off and snaps the tail shaft of the drive shaft. Just a mess. I mean, the coolant situation is just awful. But it's out. It's all here. Nothing really broke. We may have broke this pollution guy. It's a little cracked. You see that, but I think it'll be okay. Had 2 grounds here that forgot to take off. There's another shield for the starter that I forgot to take off, which was holding the wires in. And what else did we miss? Oh, the big thing I missed is the fuel lines, like an idiot. That was just dumb, but it's all out. So we got some plans, some performance related plans that you'll probably be seeing in the next video. Gonna have to get a coolant temperature sensor. It's freezing in here, hence why I'm wearing 1 glove. We're just gonna clean everything up because you know, when you have an oil leak, which is good that in one way it greases everything up and doesn't let anything rust, but we're just gonna really go in here and clean a bunch of stuff out, make it a little bit more kosher, and ultimately we'll slam it back in and hopefully run it again. But got coolant everywhere and stuff. So that's all for now. Part 1 of the Grand National R&R rebuild. Almost fell. Just got coolant on my pants. So, all right. Have a good night. The aftermath of an engine removal is no joke. Look at all that coolant. This block. Long block. Parts. Coolant. So much coolant. Tools, which is kind of organized, I guess. Yep. Crocs. Furry line Crocs, because it's freaking 20 degrees out. That light just went out. more tools, more parts, beer. Sponsor us. Thanks guys for watching. Did find a few pictures I thought you'd enjoy. This is when we first bought it and it was loaded on the trailer on its way from Ohio. In the following picture here, you'll see how hit the quarter panel is. And then finally, you'll see how crunched the frame is. When we first got it, my dad thought we'd be parting it out. If you want to see more of this car, feel free to subscribe. There will be at least one video more, potentially two.